Have you ever considered those events in the Bible which occurred in the time of, for example, Abraham? Last time we talked about the Apostles' Creed, but did you know that the Creed, in its second article on Jesus, includes a brief statement about his suffering under Pontius Pilate? Why did the writers of the Creed include that detail? They did it because Christianity is a historical religion, the events of which took place in real geographical locations in history and involved real people. This is also why archaeology is important. As you will know, archaeology is a study of human history through the excavation of sites and the analysis of artifacts and other physical remains. And real archaeologists look for sites where human beings lived and worked. Time and effort go into preliminary research to find sites. This happens way before the preliminary surveys are done and test pits are dug. Then comes the work of analysing the artefacts they find in an attempt to learn about the people who lived, worked, and died at that site. As a subfield of archaeology, we have biblical archaeology. This narrower field of archaeology focuses specifically on Israel and its surrounding areas, and those sites mentioned in the Bible. Since today we are removed from biblical cultures by several thousand years, biblical archaeology provides important contextual information so we can better interpret the Bible. This is helpful because there are certain things which would have been second nature, if you like, to the original hearer, which are completely foreign to today's reader of the Bible. Secondly, biblical archaeology also serves the purpose of Christian apologetics. In other words, biblical archaeology serves to undermine the false notion that the Bible is not a historically reliable book. And thirdly, the discovery of clay tablets and other artifacts help to increase our knowledge of the Bible's original languages. It is important to say, however, that the goal of biblical archaeology is not to prove the authority of Scripture. Instead, its purpose is to remove barriers grounded in misconceptions that are taught at every level of human culture. Biblical archaeology simply attempts to remove a disbeliever's objections to the claims of Scripture and to provide reasons to believe its authenticity. In other words, any person who attempts to deny the truth of Scripture contradicts the findings of archaeology. Friends, the Bible is not merely a collection of stories. Both the Old and New Testaments point to Jesus and his being the God-man who lived a sinless life and died for the sins of those who would believe in him. Good works will not save you. This is what the Bible teaches throughout. God demands perfect obedience to his law, and only Jesus fulfilled this demand perfectly. God is not distant and arbitrary in his actions, nor is sin a simple slip or a mistake. This is what Islam teaches. The truth of the Bible is that sin is so serious before the one true God, and that it separates us from having a relationship with him. Only the sinless Jesus could pay the price for sin on our behalf, so that we might have peace with God and know him personally. Next time we will look at some key archaeological findings which provide physical evidence of the history of God's people and his powerful acts throughout history, as revealed in his word, the Bible. Until then, God bless you.